Keanu Reeves mastered something most people never even learn. Calm is the deadliest form of power. If every comment rattles you, if every failure drags you down, if you're constantly reacting to the world around you, then your emotions are in control, not you. This video is not just motivation, it's a mental reset. I'll show you how to train your mind to stay silent and still win. Stick around until the end, because once you unlock this invisible strength, no one will ever be able to control you again. 1. Learn that nothing can hurt you anymore. Life is a chaotic symphony. The noise of opinions, the sting of judgment, the petty irritations of everyday life, and the sudden arguments that explode without warning. The world constantly tests your resilience. But what if real strength isn't about pushing back? What if it lies in keeping your mind calm and unshaken in the middle of a storm? Imagine walking through the eye of chaos without flinching, without losing your cool, without letting emotions sweep you away. That's the pinnacle of self-mastery, a state where nothing can shake you. When you learn to detach your emotions from outside circumstances, you stop being a puppet pulled by strings you can't control. You become the captain of your own ship. The world has always respected those who remain calm in the midst of chaos, those who don't crumble under pressure. When you move through life with the mindset of nothing can disturb my peace, you carry a quiet power that needs no words. Think of the great figures in history. They weren't the ones who reacted to every insult. They were the ones who moved with quiet control, as if they knew something the world didn't. Their strength wasn't in shouting, it was in their stillness. That's the power of calm. When someone insults you in front of others, your first instinct might be anger or defense. But if you simply smile and walk away, you strip them of all their power. They expect a reaction, and when there's none, they're the ones left unbalanced. You walk away stronger, untouched, unbroken. It's the same with failure. The weak sink into regret, but the strong see failure as information, as a lesson, as a stepping stone. They don't let it poison their soul. They watch, they learn, they move forward. To reach this state of peace, you must train your mind daily. Build the habit of pausing before reacting. Ask yourself, does this really impact my long-term goals? Is my reaction necessary? Or am I handing over my power? When you choose not to react, you're building an invisible armor against the little things. Picture a version of yourself walking through storms without flinching, never bending under pressure. The clearer you imagine it, the more real it becomes. Your mind can shape who you become. Let people wonder why you're always calm. Let them be surprised when you don't react the way they expect. In that mystery, you hold true power. Because strength isn't about force, it's about being unshakable. And once you master that, you master your entire life. 2. Learn to make your soul no longer wavers in the storm. Think of the strongest people you've ever known. They don't lash out impulsively. They don't let emotions dictate their actions. They pause, they observe, and then they respond with calm, deliberate intent. It's not because they don't feel, but because they've learned to master their emotions. Emotional detachment isn't about denying what you feel, it's about leading those feelings, not following them. Picture yourself in a heated argument. The person in front of you is provoking you, attacking you with sharp words. Will you react instinctively? Or will you smile, steady, unshaken, because you understand that their words only carry power if you allow them to? Mastering your emotions means not letting others rob you of your peace. It means recognizing that your inner world is sacred, and no one has the right to invade it unless you let them. When you live with that mindset, tension fades, your mind clears, and the challenges of life stop feeling like battles. Instead, they become puzzles waiting to be solved. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality. Whatever you focus on, you invite into your life. If you allow the outside world to control your mood, you become a prisoner of your circumstances. But if you master your thoughts and emotions, you become the architect of your destiny. Imagine a man who loses everything. His business collapses, his investments fall apart, and he's left with nothing. Most would break under the weight of that loss. But not him. He sees failure as a lesson, not a death sentence. He knows his mind is his greatest asset, and no one can take that from him. From that mindset, he rebuilds, stronger than before. That is the power of emotional detachment. When you no longer identify with failure, you're free to rise above it. Many people never reach success simply because they let emotions get in the way. Fear, doubt, anger make them give up too soon. But those who've mastered their inner world don't let temporary feelings sabotage long-term goals. They keep going because they've trained their minds to see obstacles as stepping stones, not walls. Emotional detachment doesn't mean becoming cold or numb. It means not letting the external world dictate your inner state. You can still feel joy, sadness, excitement, but you're the one at the wheel. Your emotions serve you, not the other way around. Train yourself by taking one step back in moments of stress. Next time someone offends you, pause. Notice how you feel. Ask yourself, does this really matter in the grand scheme of my life? Most of the time, the answer will be no. When you choose not to react, you reclaim your power. And that detachment often comes from having a clear purpose. When your vision is big enough, small distractions lose their pull. Your focus becomes untouchable because your energy is too valuable to waste on what doesn't matter. The world belongs to those who can master themselves. The more control you have over your emotions, the more unstoppable you become. When others panic, you stay calm. When they react, you respond. And that gives you an edge few ever develop. Real strength doesn't come from muscle or shouting. It comes from presence, steady, unshakable like a mountain. A presence that earns respect without needing to prove anything. When you master the art of emotional detachment, you don't just move through life, you command it. 3. Learn to stop caring about what the world thinks. We've been conditioned to believe we must care about everything. What people think, their approval, society's judgment. We've been taught that our worth is measured by how much we invest in meeting others' expectations. But true freedom begins the moment you realize most things around you really don't matter that much. The next time you find yourself worried, anxious, or overthinking something, ask yourself, will this still matter 5 years from now? If the answer is no, let it go. Because most of what weighs us down, criticism, temporary failures, awkward moments, fades into nothing with time. Yet we let these things consume our thoughts, steer our emotions, and dictate our actions. That's why mastering the art of selective indifference is the key to reclaiming your life. Being indifferent doesn't mean you're numb. It means you're intentional. It means knowing your energy is limited and choosing to invest it only in what truly matters. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every word deserves your attention. When you stop reacting to the little things, you don't just gain peace, you regain control. You shift from emotional impulse to strategic response. And that shift, it changes everything. Think about the people you admire most. They're not the ones trying to please everyone or react to every challenge. They're steady, grounded, unmoved by the noise of the world. They know who they are, and because of that, no one can manipulate them easily. And when you live with that clarity, something powerful happens. People begin to respect you more. Not because you seek approval, but because you stand firm, unshaken. In a world obsessed with fitting in, being liked, and following the crowd, the ones who stand tall in their values are the truly strong. Imagine someone unfairly criticizing you. The weak will react, defensive, angry. But the strong stay quiet, composed, because they understand words only have power if you give them power. When you don't react, you not only control the moment, you preserve your self-respect. And that's worth more than any comeback. This mindset applies to success too. High achievers don't waste time on petty drama. They're laser focused on their goals. They refuse to be pulled into distractions or side arguments. Their actions are driven by clarity, because they know every moment spent worrying about the unimportant is a moment stolen from what truly matters. So how do you develop this intelligent indifference? Start by observing your reactions. Every time you feel irritated, anxious, or upset by something small, pause. Ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? Most of the time, the answer is no. Practice letting go of what doesn't serve you. Another way, get clear on your priorities. What truly matters to you? Your goals, your growth, your inner peace. When you build a solid foundation rooted in self-respect, outside opinions lose their grip. You become untouchable, not because you care about nothing, but because you care about the right things. Here's a truth most people never realize. Real power doesn't come from being accepted. It comes from not being shaken by rejection. It lies in walking away from what drains you, rising above petty conflicts, and holding your focus in a world full of distractions. In the end, the goal isn't to care less, it's to care smarter. When you master that, you don't just survive, you rise. And in a world where everyone is trying to be liked, the one who stands in their truth will always lead. 4. Learn to stop seeking approval. Seeking approval is a trap that ties your happiness to someone else's opinion, that makes your sense of worth depend on praise, validation, or acceptance from the outside world. But here's the truth. No one can define your value more clearly than you can. The moment you hand someone else the power to judge your worth, you surrender the power to lead your own life. Real confidence isn't something you're given. It's something you build piece by piece by learning to rely on yourself. It comes from knowing that you don't need anyone's permission to live as your true self. Think about the most inspiring people you've ever known. They don't beg to be accepted. They don't shrink themselves to fit into society's mold. They live boldly with all their strengths and flaws, and that's exactly what makes them shine. Their power lies in their deep self-awareness. While others chase approval, they walk their path with clarity, no apologies, no hesitation. The need to be accepted comes from fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of being alone. But here's the paradox. The more you chase acceptance, the more power you give away. You become a prisoner of expectations, bending yourself into shapes others have drawn. And in doing so, you betray yourself. Freedom begins when you let go of the need to be liked by everyone. Full acceptance from the world is a myth. No matter what you do, some will admire you, others will criticize you, and most won't care at all. So why waste your energy trying to please everyone? Look at the people who've changed the world. Leaders, creators, innovators. They weren't trying to blend in. They acted with purpose, with vision, with a fire in their hearts. They faced criticism, but they didn't waver. Because their confidence didn't come from applause, it came from a deep, unshakable belief in who they were. If you want to break free from this trap, start by asking, whose opinion truly matters? Most of the loudest voices come from people who don't even understand your journey. Their words carry no weight unless you give them permission to. Another step? Learn to recognize yourself. Celebrate your progress. Acknowledge your wins, no matter how small. When you start validating yourself, the outside approval starts to lose its grip. You no longer need applause to feel worthy because you already know your worth. Letting go of approval doesn't mean arrogance or isolation. It means standing tall, respecting your own path, and refusing to let anyone else steer your direction. Your value isn't up for negotiation. The moment you stop seeking acceptance is the moment you start living free. You no longer have to shape your words, your actions, or your dreams for the comfort of others. You move with honesty, with courage, and with a purpose that no one can shake. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will support you. And that's okay. The ones who truly matter will respect you not because you need their approval, but because you don't. So choose yourself. Stand firm in your truth, your values, your vision. Let go of the need to be approved and embrace the power of self-acceptance. Because when you do that, you become untouchable. Not because everyone loves you, but because you no longer need them to. 5. Learn to face criticism with strength. Criticism is unavoidable in life, but how you face it reveals your true inner strength. Most people crumble at the first harsh word. They let someone's opinion cut deep, shape their self-worth, influence their choices, and weaken their will. But why? Because they forget a simple truth. Criticism is just words, opinions, perspectives, often coming from people who don't understand your journey. The truth is, criticism only has power if you give it power. React emotionally, and it controls you. Filter it through reason, and you stay in control. Strong people don't get shaken by criticism. They look at it with clarity, keep what's useful, and let go of the rest. No negative emotions, no overreactions, just selective attention to what actually matters. The key is this: evaluate criticism with logic, not emotion. Keep what serves your growth, ignore what doesn't, and never let someone's opinion steal your peace of mind. There are two types of criticism: constructive and destructive. Constructive criticism is valuable. It helps you improve. It comes from experience, knowledge, and genuine care. This kind, you should welcome. But destructive criticism is different. It's meant to tear you down. It often stems from jealousy, insecurity, or ignorance. Those words mean nothing unless you make the mistake of believing them. Picture a sculptor working on a masterpiece. Some praise him. Some offer thoughtful suggestions. Others mock him. Does he stop because of a few negative voices? No. He keeps carving, guided by his vision, tuning out the noise. You should do the same. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself, does this person have the experience or credibility to judge me? If yes, consider it. If not, move on. Not every voice deserves your attention. Most criticism comes from those who've never dared to do what you're doing. Their words reflect their limits, not yours. Criticism is a test of emotional control. The weak react instantly, with anger, defense, or self-doubt. The strong stay grounded. They listen, they evaluate, but they don't let it disturb their core. When you respond to criticism with calm, you show the world your confidence can't be shaken. Think of the great minds in history, creators, leaders, pioneers. All of them faced heavy criticism. Their ideas were doubted. Their decisions were questioned. But they didn't stop. They moved forward, undistracted by outside noise. Their unshakable focus in the face of judgment set them apart. They understood this. Criticism is the price of progress. To develop this mindset, practice emotional separation. The next time someone criticizes you, don't react. Pause. Ask yourself, does this feedback hold value? If yes, learn from it. If not, discard it. Mastering this habit frees you from the emotional burden of needing approval. Another powerful approach is belief in yourself. When you truly trust the path you're on, external praise or disapproval loses its grip. Real confidence comes from within, not from validation or rejection. And when you grasp this, you become immune to shallow opinions. The world will always have something to say. Some will cheer you on. Some will doubt you. Most won't care. But in the end, the only opinion that truly matters is yours. Real strength lies in hearing criticism, judging it with reason, and moving forward without losing focus. So next time you're criticized, remember, it's just noise. Learn from it if it helps, but never let it define you. Strong people don't fear criticism. They use it wisely or let it go completely. 6. Learn to face pressure. Pressure doesn't shape you. It reveals who you really are. The weak will crumble, the strong stand firm. Why? Because they've trained their minds before the storm ever hit. They understand that pressure isn't unusual, it's inevitable. And the moment you stop being surprised by challenges is the moment you begin to master them. The secret lies in letting go of the need to control everything. Remember, things won't always go as planned. People will disappoint you. Obstacles will appear out of nowhere. Failures will come, but you don't react emotionally. You respond strategically, with calm that's been earned, not improvised. Most people break under pressure because they resist reality. They expect everything to go smoothly, easily, within their control. So when life proves otherwise, they panic, complain, or freeze. But those who've trained themselves to accept uncertainty, they adapt. They move with the chaos instead of against it. Picture a seasoned warrior. He doesn't enter battle expecting it to be easy. He anticipates resistance, traps, and unseen threats. Yet he stays calm because he accepted the harshness of the battlefield long before he stepped onto it. He doesn't waste energy wishing for ease. He focuses on execution. That's the mindset you need. Life will test you with pressure, failure, and doubt. But if you've trained your mind to stay steady in the storm, nothing can shake you. While others panic, you move with precision. While they react, you plan. Your strength isn't in controlling everything. It's in controlling yourself. And when you no longer need things to be perfect, you become unstoppable. When you understand that pressure is part of the process, you stop fearing it. Instead, you see it as the arena where your resilience is sharpened. Look at great leaders. They don't collapse in chaos. They don't flinch when everything seems to fall apart. They exude calm, clarity, and control, and that's what sets them apart. People look at them and wonder, why don't they ever get rattled? How can they stay so composed when the world is falling apart? The answer: they've trained their minds to expect adversity. They're prepared before pressure arrives. They know emotion clouds judgment, so they've learned to separate themselves from unnecessary feelings. They prioritize reason over panic, and because of that, they hold an advantage few can match. To build this kind of mental strength, start by changing how you view pressure. See it as a game, a test of your discipline. When stress hits, challenge yourself, stay calm, observe your emotions, but don't let them steer your actions. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. And then, there's preparation. The strong don't wait for pressure to react. They prepare in advance. They imagine the worst-case scenarios. They rehearse their mindset for adversity. And because of that, they don't panic when it arrives. They become strategists, not reactors. Most people live unprepared, hoping things will go smoothly. And when they don't, they collapse. But the ones who've trained for the storm, they don't break. They don't retreat. They hold the line, unmoved. So the next time pressure closes in, remind yourself, this is my test, my moment to prove who I am. While others spiral, you'll breathe deep. While they rush, you'll think. And when the storm passes, you'll still be standing, steady, untouched, and unshakable. 7. Learn to let go. The pain we carry in life rarely comes from what happens to us, but from how tightly we hold on. We cling to outcomes, to expectations, to things beyond our control. We grip tightly to what should have happened, convinced that life must follow the script we've written. And when reality breaks from that plan, we break with it. But real mental strength isn't found in control. It's found in the ability to let go. Imagine a river. It doesn't demand a rock to move. It doesn't fight when it meets resistance. It flows, it bends, it adapts. Life works the same way. Some things will happen no matter how much you worry. The job you don't get, the person who walks away, the failure that shows up uninvited. You can resist and suffer, or adapt and keep moving. The choice is always yours. Letting go isn't giving up, it's shifting your focus from what you can't control to what you can. When you cling to expectations, you make yourself fragile. You trap yourself in a cycle of disappointment, stuck asking, what if? But when you accept that some things are simply out of reach, you feel lighter, freer. Think of the strongest people you've ever met. They don't fight what can't be changed. They don't fall apart in uncertainty. They've learned to let go, not of life, but of the illusion that they can control everything. They understand that peace comes not from forcing the river, but from learning to flow with it. Too many people tie their happiness to outcomes. If things go as planned, they feel good. If not, they fall apart. But that's a fragile way to live. Real strength is adaptability. When you stop putting conditions on your peace, you become unbreakable. No failure, no loss can truly shake you. The key to letting go is awareness. The next time you catch yourself gripping something too tightly, a result, a person, an expectation, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it. Don't waste your energy trying to move immovable things. Spend it instead on what will actually move you forward. Letting go is a skill. It takes time. It takes practice. Start small. Long lines, traffic, last-minute changes. Notice the freedom that comes when you stop reacting, when you stop letting circumstances dictate your mood. And bit by bit, bring that mindset into the bigger storms of life. Some confuse letting go with apathy, but they are not the same. Apathy is numbness. Letting go is clarity. It's the deep understanding that you can care fully, love deeply, give everything, and still not be destroyed when things don't go your way. You can desire without being attached. You can try your hardest without needing to control the result. The moment you choose to release what you cannot hold, you become untouchable. You move through life with a calm that others admire but can't quite explain. While they're drowning in regret and frustration, you remain still. They wonder how you're not shaken. The answer is simple. You've mastered the art of letting go. So stop resisting. Accept what is. Adapt to what comes. And most importantly, remember this. The strongest souls aren't the ones who cling the hardest. They're the ones who know when to let go and keep flowing like a river, unbothered by the rocks in their path. 8. Learn to master your silence. In a world where everyone rushes to speak, to be heard, to prove a point, to assert their worth, silence becomes the most powerful psychological weapon. Most people talk to fill the space, to seek validation, to hide their own insecurity. But truly powerful? They don't waste words. They observe. They listen. They calculate. And when they finally speak, every word lands with weight. Silence makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to wonder, what are you thinking? How do you feel? In conversation, the one who speaks less often holds the most control. Words reveal. Silence conceals. When you master the art of silence, you shift the dynamic. You don't just communicate differently, you shape how others perceive you. Many can't handle silence. They rush to justify, explain, or say things they don't need to. But when you hold your silence, you force others to reveal themselves. The more they talk, the more they expose their fears, their thoughts, their true intentions, while you remain an enigma. And in that mystery, you gain power. Imagine you're in a negotiation. The other side makes an offer and waits for your response. But you stay silent. The silence stretches. They grow uneasy. And eventually, they sweeten the deal just to break the tension. That discomfort, that's your leverage. In everyday life, too, when someone insults you, try silence. They expect anger, a sharp retort. But when you give them nothing, their power vanishes. They begin to question themselves, their words. Silence, in these moments, isn't weakness, it's control. Silence is also the sharpest tool for observation. You hear the hesitation in a voice, see the flicker in their eyes, the nervous hands. Clues others miss because they're too busy speaking. When you stay silent, you don't just talk less, you see more. And remember, the most influential people in the world are rarely the loudest in the room. They're the ones who speak with intention. They don't waste their breath on noise. They know that speaking less doesn't mean knowing less. It means knowing better. If you want to build strength through silence, start with restraint. Before you speak, pause. Listen more. Observe before you respond. When you speak rarely, others listen more closely when you do. Another way to harness this power? Stay silent in emotionally charged moments. When you're angry, stay quiet. When you're insulted, stay quiet. When someone demands an immediate answer, delay. The ability to hold your tongue in those moments is the highest form of discipline. And discipline always commands respect. The powerful don't react out of emotion. They don't let anger shape their words. They understand that silence is a response, that a pause can shift an entire outcome. So next time someone pushes for your reaction, stay silent. Let them wrestle with their thoughts. Let them reveal themselves. And you? Stay calm, because in that quiet, the power quietly shifts in your favor. In a world desperate to be heard, the one who speaks the least holds the greatest influence. Master silence, and you master every room you walk into. 9. Learn to train your mind for inner peace. Your mind is a battlefield, and what you allow inside determines whether you win or lose. Every doubt, every fear, every moment of hesitation is an enemy to be conquered. The strongest people aren't those who've never had negative thoughts. They're the ones who don't let those thoughts take the lead. To build a resilient mind, you need mental habits, gratitude to dissolve negativity, discipline to overcome laziness, and emotional detachment to reduce suffering. Just as your body gets stronger by resisting force, your mind grows only through consistent challenges. You can't expect mental strength to show up in a crisis if you haven't trained for it. Every day, you must coach yourself to stay calm. Pause before reacting, breathe before responding. Most people are prisoners of their emotions, rushing to react, acting out of fear, and crumbling under pressure. But those who control their minds, they control everything. They live with clarity, rooted in calmness, and that composure makes them unshakable. Understand this. Mental strength isn't built in grand moments. It's forged in the small ones. It's choosing to get up when you want to sleep in. It's staying silent when you could argue. It's moving forward when every part of you wants to quit. One of the most powerful habits is detachment. Not coldness, but control. When you learn to separate yourself from emotions, outcomes, and outside chaos, you gain an edge over those who act on impulse. Picture a storm. The average person gets swept away, tossed around in the chaos. But the one with a steady mind stays grounded, their roots deep in the earth, letting the storm pass without being shaken. They don't waste energy fighting what can't be controlled. They save it for what truly matters. Discipline is non-negotiable. Your mind will always chase comfort, the path of least resistance. And that's why most people never truly become strong. They're easily distracted, quick to delay, filled with self-doubt. But discipline resets your mental compass. Every time you choose action over avoidance, you mold yourself into someone unstoppable. Start small. Meditate to sharpen your focus. Move your body to strengthen your will. Read to expand your thinking. And above all, keep your word to yourself, even the smallest promise. These simple acts compound into an unshakable mind. The world will test you. People will doubt you. Life will throw obstacles in your path. But when you've trained your mind, nothing outside can shake you inside. You'll walk through life with confidence, control, and a quiet power few ever know. And when others ask why you never panic, never break, never waver, you'll know the answer. You trained for this. You built this, and no one can take it from you. 10. Learn to move in silence. True power moves in silence, letting results speak for themselves. In a noisy room, the loudest voice is often the weakest, the one desperate for attention, making grand declarations, craving validation. But the truly strong are different. They move quietly, strategically, with precision. If you want respect, stop talking about what you're going to do. Stop explaining yourself. Just act. Move forward quietly. Success isn't built on words. It's built on consistent, deliberate action. The more you talk, the more you invite doubt, resistance, and obstacles. But when you move in silence, no one sees you coming. And by the time they do, it's already too late. Strong people don't waste energy proving themselves. They don't argue, don't show off, don't over-explain. They act with confidence. And it's that quiet certainty that earns respect. The moment you stop chasing external validation, you become unstoppable. Look at history's most powerful figures. They weren't the ones shouting about their next move. They knew power doesn't lie in promises. It lies in execution. They didn't waste time explaining their vision to those who couldn't understand it. They built, they created, they conquered without fanfare. To master this art, you must develop the discipline to keep your ambition to yourself. Work relentlessly, but don't look for applause. Let people wonder what you're up to. Let them ask why you're always calm, always steady. The fewer people who know your plans, the more control you have. Silence isn't weakness. It's a strategy. It makes others fill the gaps with their own questions, doubts, and curiosity. And in that ambiguity, you hold the upper hand. When you do speak, every word carries weight. People listen, not because you demand it, but because they know you never speak without purpose. While others chase recognition, you chase mastery. While they work on the image of success, you work on the reality of it. That's the line between those who talk about greatness and those who actually achieve it. When you feel the urge to explain, resist it. When you want to prove yourself, pull back. When you want the world to see your progress, let your results do the talking. And soon, you'll see, the less you feed the need for outside approval, the more people start to notice. They'll wonder how you did it. They'll question why nothing seems to shake you. And that's when you'll realize you've mastered the game. Not by telling the world what you're becoming, but by becoming it without saying a word. If this message spoke to you, don't let it fade. Carry it with you. Let this be more than just another video. Let it be the moment everything changed. Keanu Reeves didn't become a symbol of calm strength by accident. He mastered the inner world first. And now so can you. Whether it's in your career, your relationship, or your own thoughts. Real power comes from emotional control. This isn't just motivation. It's transformation. If you found value in this, share it with someone who needs it too. Because when you learn to stop reacting, you start living on your terms, not theirs.